congratulations for Monday. How do you reflect on what was a really special evening for everybody connected to the club?
Yeah, I think so. A lot of nominations, which the club is very proud of, and we're of course very proud of the Club of the Year award, and that's investment that's the club has done over, like I said in the speech, over 38 years, so since 1987, and that's why the club is here right now. So a lot of people have been involved in that process for a long time and built legacy for the club, and it's not only what we've been doing now, but all the work that people have done before us as well.
In terms of team news, are there any fresh concerns, and is there a timescale when it comes to Leah's injury?
Yeah, let me update you guys next time we see each other. There was an appointment today, and so we'll know more after today. Been seeing a specialist. Otherwise, no news.
Just going back to Sunday, what are your more considered thoughts on the match itself? Do you think a point was fair? How do you feel about the performance?
I think as the game played out, and also if you see the stats of the game, but also the subjective analysis of the game, I think it was probably fair. But that's not what we wanted and what we went for. We wanted to go for more, but unfortunately we didn't find the solutions and bring our best game, especially in the final third of the game. On the other side, I think we were very good defensively and solid, and we keep a clean sheet.
Looking ahead to Aston Villa, how important is it to ensure that there's no slip-ups even at such an early stage of the season?
Yeah, no, very important, but it doesn't make a difference in that sense. We knew that going into this season, we want to be consistent, and we want to find ways, and we need to bring that in every single game. So that's no different, and but we know that we'll have to bring that on Saturday. We respect Aston Villa. Of course, we played a hard game away last year against Villa, so we know that we need to be on our best on Saturday. Sorry.
And finally, for me, there's a women in football survey that was published today, which has found that almost 80% of women working in football have suffered discrimination in the last 12 months. What are your thoughts on that figure?
Yeah, it's not what you want to hear, of course. I think there's still a lot of work that needs to be done. And I think we need to stay critical, although there's been a lot of progress in that sense. We need to stay critical, and it's not always in the big things, it can be in the small things as well. So yeah, it's good to be aware of it. And all we can do is, in our environment, make sure that's in a good place.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, hi Renee. After the West Ham game, you talked about how one of the reasons the team got the result, you said they stayed on top of everything throughout the whole game. And at the end of that quote, you said, we saw the Champions League run last season, but we also saw the games where we didn't do that. And I'm just wondering, I know you touched on it there, the Villa game last season, which I appreciate had a very, very different context, but what did you, ahead of this game on Saturday, what did you learn from that game? Maybe in terms of preparation, but also, like I said to you on Sunday, like Man United, when I watched the game back, that ball went over the top again and again and again and again. And it pretty much never caused Arsenal any trouble, so tactically it looks to me like, you know, maybe a bit more on top of that this season.
Yeah, well, yeah, that was a learning from last year, and it wasn't that we weren't working on it last year. I think teams found ways against us, and we need to bring the discipline. But that was really good, like I said. So the defensive organization, but that's also the organization behind the ball when you're attacking, is very important for us. And in many ways, in general, holistically, we were happy with that. And yeah, in preparation for that game, you go through different scenarios. We expected them to do something, and maybe they didn't fully do that thing that we expected them to do. But then still, it's on us to find the solutions. But that's what we always need to keep in the back of our heads, that we need to be versatile, flexible. We need to be able to change things, because we can expect teams to change things against us.
And I wanted to ask a couple of questions about Jen and Iswanger. I think most people, you know, talking from the outside, most people understand Arsenal's a big squad. Some players are not going to play. It's a long season. They're probably all going to be needed. But I wanted to home in on the West Ham game, where she wasn't on the bench, but two goalkeepers were, which, again, from the outside, raised some eyebrows. I wondered if you could talk a little bit about that decision.
Yeah, it actually had nothing to do. All players are performing really well and working really hard in training. Jenna, one of them. We felt like we wanted an extra goalkeeper in that game because of other reasons.
And can I ask as well, again, not unusual at a big club like Arsenal for players to find themselves on the outskirts and having the opportunity to work back in, but I think one of the things people are struggling with from the outside is this is quite a new player that signed quite recently, and that feels unusual that a player comes in and then so quickly is finding opportunities so difficult to come by. Are there any issues over recruitment there or anything like that?
No, it's of course very hard. But like I've been saying, we recruited Jenna, and she's part of us. She's part of the team. We have, and that's what I have to carry, and that's a burden I have to carry. When the whole squad is fit, we have so many options, and I will only be able to start 11 players, and I will only be able to change maximum of 5 players, and that's the rules within the game that I have to work with, even though it hurts me as well. But that's the rules of the game, and at the end of the day, it's my job, so I'll have to carry that. But not saying that I don't find that hard, that's part of the head coach role.
And what do some of those conversations, not just with Jenna, but like Kyra hasn't had any minutes yet this season, again, long season, I'm sure she'll play a big part, but for you, what do those conversations look like? Do you have those conversations, or is it just a case of this is business?
And that's why we want a good and strong competitive squad at Arsenal.
And you said that you wanted to, last week in the press conference, you said about every game has its own story. You actually used that a couple of times, and which is really, really good, I think, because you can sort of see the way you're kind of planning it. But I wondered if it's almost like for every competition you're in, there's a different kind of bunch of stories for each one kind of thing, because you're going to be playing it in a different way, or telling the story in a different way if you're playing Bayern Munich to if you're playing Aston Villa kind of thing.
Like I said, what's going to be important for us is being consistently consistent. So what we did, for example, around the final was to keep everything the same. Everything around it stays the same. This is another football game. We know it's special, yes, but we keep everything the same. And if we want to be consistently consistent, then we think we need consistent processes as well. But then, on the other hand, you know that certain opposition will ask you different questions, and something else is needed from you in the game. And that's why we work with the framing ahead of games from a psychological perspective, but of course also from a tactical perspective.
And do you ever, before the Barcelona game, you set up your bench, etc., to play as if they were Barcelona kind of thing? Beth Mead said she was playing Francopina, I think. She was finding all the pockets and stuff like that. And when you're preparing for other Champions League games this season, do you think that might be something that would come into play?
Well, it's some, and I think a lot of teams, most teams would work like that you prepare for your opponent and try to create realistic pictures in training. And now, of course, with the big squad we have and high availability, we have a great training environment, so we can do this. And that's not only for the final, but that's for every single game. We try to ask the questions and create problems. So on match day, we know what to expect. So we would do that for every single game.
Really? So for Villa you would do that, but I would have thought something like Chelsea would be like these sort of really big hero games, if you like, that you would set up like that.
No, we do it for every single game. So of course you want to prepare your tactical plan on the pitch, and you do that the best way possible if you play against a certain type of player or a certain system.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Great. Anything back?
Renee, I was just going to get your assessment on Aston Villa and going back to the Emirates on Saturday.
Yeah, so they played last night. I think a lot of learnings from our game last year, Villa away. And they have certain strengths in the team. They have a strong belief in how they play, and they if they will do what we expect them to do, they will be very aggressive against us. So we'll have to find the solutions. So it will be a tough task. It will ask a lot from us from a presence perspective. Are we technically present? Are we psychologically present in the game? Because we expect to be under pressure, and we expect to having to find solutions against Villa on Saturday.
What's your overall view on their players generally?
Yeah, like I said, they are aggressive. They're front-footed. They have a lot of physical qualities in that team, with speed up top, for example, and they look very disciplined as a team.
Great. Leave it there, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers. Good luck.
Thank you.